Uh-oh, it looks like we piqued your interest in the Hideout. First of all, let me tell you what the Hideout is not. The Hideout is not for hustlers, for grinders, or for people who are looking for a shortcut to what the world calls success. The Hideout is about growing as men, creating lifelong friendships, and having the time of our lives. Are you ready to tap in to the endless source that will take you from success to significance? The Hideout is 2.5 days of hiking, biking, and doing the little things that it takes to create lifelong friendships. I find that joy is nothing more than falling in love with your current circumstances and allowing magic to happen. And that's when we see growth in every area of your life. Have you accomplished your goals professionally and financially, and you still thirst for something more? Has success in these areas come at the expense of far more valuable things, like your family, your children, and your relationships? Alignment in business, strategic partnerships, and joint ventures all come from true relationships. The Hideout is designed to get to know people before you'll ever meet them. This is not your typical mastermind. The Hideout is focused on the one thing that will fuel everything: joy. And when joy is overflowing in your life, you'll find growth in your marriage, your relationships, and oh yeah, your business. Welcome to the Kelly Cardenas podcast, where attitude is everything. I am so excited to be able to have this young lady on the call right now. Not only on the call, in the room and on the podcast. I don't know if I want to look at her because she's so beautiful, or if I want to look at you, every single person out there that's been riding with us to help the podcast to be where it's at right now. But for those of you who know, this young lady was on the podcast. I believe it was episode 2. I believe so.
I think so.
And we talked, and it was amazing. It was one of the most listened to podcasts that we have because you are the coolest girl in America.
That's right, baby.
I believe that you need very little introduction, although I'm going to give you one. And we were talking over the dinner table the other night, and I was saying who I think you are, who, as far as a woman, as a phenomenal woman, and then a business owner, and then an educator, and then a business owner, and then a practitioner of the things that you teach people how to do, a platform artist, a mom, a wife, a friend, just a phenomenal human being. And you told me that from the very first time that I met you. You were like, I'm the coolest girl in America. And I said, can I hang? And you were like, you don't have your cool card yet. But I have since hopefully earned my cool card. I'm trying to keep it. But it is my honor and my pleasure to have my wife, my ride or die, my best friend in the entire world, and I think the most beautiful woman on the planet, on the podcast. So welcome to the podcast, Mrs. Mm-hmm. Don't get it twisted. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Brooklyn Cardenas.
What's up, baby? We've come a long way from downstairs to upstairs.
We changed the studio. It was your fault. Yeah. It was your fault. I believe the first time when we did the podcast too, we didn't even have the mics plugged in.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
No, we had other mics that were on us, and we put mics in front of us to make it look like we were on mics. Yeah. Do you realize that?
I don't remember that, but that's awesome.
The first podcast that we had too was, the first one that I did, actually I didn't even have the mic plugged in. I didn't have a mic. It was with Robert Cromines. And I was working off the iMac microphone.
Yeah.
And so why is it taking you so long? This is episode 211. Yeah. We are in season 18. Right. You were on season 1. Yeah. And have I asked you quite a few times to come on the show?
You sure have.
Why haven't you come on?
Baby, I've been with you since day one. I was there before there was a microphone. Okay. I was just like waiting for you to become legit.
Ooh.
Like got your own room. Look at this desk. I'm here from the beginning, but I'm going to take you in to over 100,000 listens. That's why I'm here.
Today we're trying to go to 100,000 downloads. Is that what you're saying?
That's it.
That's the whole thing.
We're going together, baby.
Okay. So I think a lot of times people have questions. I mean, they seem to ask you always the same question. How are you able to do it all? You're a phenomenally attentive mom. You're an incredible wife, super supportive. You're a great businesswoman. But most women think that they can only do one. They have to choose it. So how are you able to, I mean, I know that's the canned question that you get a lot, but I want to ask that question because I think it's super important.
Well, I don't think any of us have it quite figured out, you know? I don't think any of us quite have it all worked out or figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
We make tons of mistakes and we learn. So I don't think I have it all figured out. I just know what's important to me, and all the things that I do are important to me. So if I want to have a successful job or career, or if I want to have a successful marriage or have a great relationship with my kids, it's because it's intentional. And I think sometimes you have to make sacrifices, but if there's something that you really, 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 really want, you'll make it happen.
Let's talk about faking the funk, though, because there's a lot of times, especially today, there's bumper stickers everywhere now, especially because of social media. When I say bumper stickers, it's like, be intentional. And I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to take out toxic people out of my life. These are all bumper stickers, but unless you live it, it doesn't actually work. And I think the cool thing for me in watching you in your life is you adhere to all the bumper sticker stuff, but you actually own it, as opposed to you read it in a book and then you're like reciting it and regurgitating information that you don't believe. How do you get to a point of believing in that stuff as opposed to just going through the motions?
Well, I have great examples like yourself, right? I think I have an awesome cheerleader to cheer me along. You know, I'm very grateful for the fact that I have you in my life that continues to like just pump me up. Tell me that I'm awesome. Tell me that I can do it. Believe in me. You're my number one. And I don't think a lot of people have that. And so because you're the one that doesn't fake the funk, I don't think. I think you really mean what you say. And when you see what's great in somebody, you tell them. And you hold them to their greatness. And I have that in my life. And so I'm super, super blessed. I mean, I think you had that in your life too. You know, you had two amazing parents that told you all the time how great you were. And I mean, even like our neighbors are like, is Kelly really happy all the time? And I'm like, he chooses to be, sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen him talk to the AT&T guy before, so I know he's not always happy.
It's my AT&T guy. It's your DirecTV guy.
Yeah, well, DirecTV ain't in my life no more.
DirecTV, I tell you. I mean, they're probably not going to sponsor the podcast after this, because I'm telling you, when we were on the phone with them for a little bit, and I was just on the phone with AT&T, and let's talk about that, because I was on, and the whole house heard me. I was not happy. When you lose your cool, or you lose, when you lose that part, because you've got to, I always say that you're a gangster, and people are like, what? Your wife is gangster? I'm like, no, you don't know, because it really takes, what is it? Is it coffee, lipstick, and some gangster rap is what it is, or something like that, some lip gloss and hairspray and Tupac. Yeah. That when you listen to it, you go into that mode. How are you able to go into that mode, and how are you able to wrangle yourself back into sweet, loving, awesome Brooklyn, but you have a killer instinct in you?
That's a good question. Like, how do you
know how to turn it on and turn it off? And how can you?
Do you turn it on? I think there's always that little bit of me, like that little, like, catch me outside, like what I want to say, right? Like,
what stops you from saying what you want to say?
Because I've said it before, and it doesn't get me the result I
want. When have you said something? And the people want to know, like the people that are listening, they want to know, like, the reality. They don't want to know, like, are we skipping through life? I had one guy tell me that he stopped watching my social media, and I was like, well, okay. And he said, yeah, because you're way too positive. He's like, my life is not positive all the time, so I can't watch you because it's too positive. And I was like, and I told him, I said, I go through stuff, right? And I think a lot of times when people see you and they see your cool videos online, they see the Dirty Girl blog on YouTube. Am I correct? Is Dirty Girl a blog? When they see that, they see, oh my gosh, she's happy. She's always, like, the kids are always acting right, and the house is always in line. Everything's right. Is that the case? Mm-hmm. Is that the case with you? Is everything perfect all the time?
Always so perfect.
Always.
Yeah. No, it's not. But I mean, like I said, I'm really grateful to go through the bumps. Like I think I'm getting into this new tier in life. Like, I'm not a kid anymore, you know, I'm a big kid. I'm a grown kid now, actually. But I mean, when I was younger, I remember like my conflict. I had a conflict. I think I've told you this story before. Like I had a conflict with one of my best friends, and we were fighting about something stupid. I don't even know what we were fighting about. But you know, she's tough. I'm tough. She's like, I'm gonna whoop that ass. And oops, sorry, can I say that?
You can say whatever you want. That's Brooklyn.
Yeah. So she's like, I don't know what we were fighting at. And she was throwing all this stuff at me, and I remember my dad asked me like, what's going on? I was like, my friend, she, you know, we're having a little outs, and she's talking some mess. And he was like, tell her to pull up.
Did he say it? I don't see your dad saying pull up.
Yeah.
Your dad is country.
Yeah.
Your dad is he didn't say pull up.
Yeah, that's
he
what
said
McKenna
pull
said
up
last night. No, he said.
Okay. What did he say?
So tell her to come on over. Well.
Okay, come over. But McKenna, our daughter at 13, said pull up.
Yeah, she said that last night. She said pull up.
There is nothing gangster in Carlsbad, by the way. I just want to let you know, except Brooklyn. There is not a thing. There's no street life in you know, there's e-bikes and Lululemon pants and sippy cups for moms with not sippy cup stuff in it.
Jesus juice.
Yes. Okay.
So I just remember my dad was like, hey, tell her to come over. And that's how we dealt with things back then. So my friend comes over, and she's thinking she's going to talk this mess. And we go in the back, and I whip her ass. And then, you know what? We're friends again. You know, that's like how you used to deal with things. And I realized that's not like how you deal with it anymore. Like, you can't just put hands on somebody anymore, especially where I'm at in my life. You know, you have to like learn to like deal with conflict differently. And I feel like, so even though that's in me, like it's still there, I've learned that, you know, I think it's because of the examples that I've set, but like really, it's all love, right? Everything to me is all about love. And if you're fighting something, or you're mad, or you're pissed off, it's because really you're just hurt. And I've realized that I have to now take that perspective. Like if something's bothering me, it's because it's like somewhere down there I got hurt. And so now I just want to deal with it differently because I want a different outcome.
How do you deal with the hurt? Because I think there's a lot of men out there that are listening that, like, the hard part about having a cool wife, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, the hard part about having a really cool wife like you is I don't know when something's wrong because you're so cool. And so you deal with pain on a different level. Like you'll be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Until you're not good. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so that, like, help us, maybe help me as a man to understand, like, when you are that cool, like, what kind of check-ins can I do? Because when I just ask, then most of the time you'll just be like, nah, I'm good. How can I get through that? And also, how do you deal with the pain, whether it be internally or externally?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think obviously we're on the podcast right now, and this is what you're really good at. You're really good about asking those questions. Like, you know how to talk to people. You know how to, like, get the result that you want. Like, if you want me to be a happy wife, you're going to ask me, like, what's up? Like, how can I, like, you'll even say, like, did I say something to offend you? Like, you use that one a lot.
That one.
Yeah. You use that
like I'm techniquing you?
No, but I feel like you are really good at learning how to communicate. Like, you're good at, like, if I'm not acting the way maybe, or as engaged or connected as I should, you'll ask me. And you're really good at that. I mean, that's why you're fantastic at what you do here, is because you know how to talk to people. You know how to, like, you know, find out, like, where they're at. And you do it genuinely, which I think makes the biggest difference. I think that when you ask people questions, like right now, your eyes are locked into mine, you're leaning in, and I really feel like you want the answer. So then I'm like, oh shit, like, I need to give him, I feel more open to maybe be more vulnerable to talk to you. And you're really good at that. You're great at that. You're the best there ever is. And people are, you know, and I think that that's what's great about having the coolest husband in the world, is because you really work on the relationship, and you really try, and you're really loving, and you're really caring. And, like, if you know I'm not right, like, you're going to sit in the funky stuff and work it out with me. And that makes me trust you, and then makes me want to be vulnerable with you and feel like I can be, because I know you care.
How does a strong woman become vulnerable? Because when I met you, I remember like our first, you probably don't, but one of our first dates was rock climbing. It was like bouldering. And I'm not good at that, but I was good at wanting to hang out with you. And we were bouldering, and you were running, and I was you would just yell out this way, and it would just come, the voice would come behind you because I was so far behind, and you're just running up rocks, jumping on stuff. And I remember you being like, I don't want to get married, and like jump on another rock. And then you're like, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I wanted to hang out with you, but I was thinking, she just said that she doesn't want to get married. I was like, challenge, you know what I mean? Like, so like, how do those walls get broken down? Because you're a woman who, what I admired about you from the very beginning is that you could do it on your own. Like when we got married, you already owned your own home. You already had a very successful career. And when we got together, there was some adjustments because I didn't come from that type of lifestyle.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's how I was raised. I was raised to be super independent and do things on my own. And that's kind of how I had it figured out. I mean, I'm the oldest of 8 kids. I kind of was like,
are you really the oldest?
Well, I have a brother.
You acted like the oldest. Okay. All right. There we go.
I have one brother that's older than me.
I hope that people understood the mumble. Can you take us through the mumble real quick? You just say, but just slow it down real quick and say it.
There's 8 of us.
Okay.
I had 4 OGs, my mom and my dad.
Okay.
So, and then my dad remarried, and she had 2, and then they had twins. So my family has 8 kids. And then, so I have an older brother. I had an older brother. I have an older brother, and just from really early on, he struggled quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like with addiction and all that kind of stuff. So I always kind of felt like, as the older one, that I was always taking care of everybody.
You were the most responsible.
I guess so, yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
So, but you were raised in that place. I've never done this before, but I want to address this because, let's see, when life does the gratitude, as Yanira said, the AT&T guy, deal with it differently because I want a different outcome. Yanira felt that one. When you live in love, gratitude is easier to go through stuff. And then watching y'all, as guests, be shampooed, you're both awesome.
Oh, thanks,
so Diane, we love you. Lori, we love you. And Yanira, we absolutely love you. So take us through that though, as growing up, because as a father, I want McKenna to be a very strong woman. Although sometimes that strength in a woman can be a barrier in a relationship.
Sure.
And how have you learned? Because I've never seen somebody transition as amazing and as gracefully as you have. And I'm not saying that you relinquish everything to me, but you make me feel like a man. Like, when did that start to click? I've never asked you that, but like when did that click for you?
I think it's like you get what you get what you put out. And again, I am independent, and I was raised independent and strong, and I know what I want and all those things. And like you were saying, some of the hardest things when we first got married was, especially like when we had McKenna, and I was like, no, I don't want to not work and rely on you and financially. Like, that was it was more of a mental and emotional like change for me. And I really struggled with that. And, what you did is you stepped up and you made me feel like I was safe. And I think at the end of the day, as women, that's what we want. We want to feel safe. We want to feel protected. We want to feel loved. And even though we'll take in any role that we need to do to survive.
Okay.
Right? Then we want to be taken care of. I think naturally people do. And it's the same way as a man. I really believe that you want to be felt taken care of, loved and admired and all those things. And I think when you give that, then you feel safe to do that. And I don't think I've ever had a relationship like that before.
Well, you've never had any relationship
ever.
For all of you, all of you out there listening, My wife, Brooklyn and I have an agreement that we've never dated anybody else.
Except for like, for real though, we really
I
saw
know.
each other
I
in
know.
relationships, which is so weird.
I told someone that the other day because I don't know if you remember when we first got married. I went to the bookshelf and I went to the bookshelf and I was like, and I was looking through the books and I was grabbing something to read and I grabbed it and I was like, oh wow, this is a cool book. And I was like, hey Brooke, is this your book? And you were like, what book? And I brought it in and I was like, she's like, I think it's you. Or she said, I bought that. You said, I bought that for you for your wedding.
Yeah, which was one of my favorite books to this day, which is called The Mastery of Love. It's the same guy that wrote The Four Agreements, still like to the day, one of the best. And I gave that to you.
Because you were trying to.
For your wedding that I went to with my super awesome.
Well, people asked about like jealousy. For you and I, let's go to that point because you and I travel quite a bit, right? And we don't travel as much anymore, which is awesome. I get to travel to the Hideout, and you and I get a chance to. Lori is on here. Lori's coming to the Hideout for women, and so we don't travel a ton, but we do, and we're in industries where there's admiration, and so let's talk about that part of it, about the jealousy part. This is something you never, ever, I don't think, most of this stuff I've never said to you. I never dealt with that with you, ever. Did you ever feel it?
No.
Not once.
I mean, maybe, like, of course, like maybe human nature, maybe like a little bit, but like not to where I would act on it. And
Really?
I think
Why is that? Like, what's the component there? And, because I think a lot of times people will say, jealousy is healthy. For me, I've never seen it be healthy.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, what?
No, I'm serious. Like, that's what some people, they'll be like, a little bit of jealousy is healthy. And I'm like, that's like saying a little bit of crack, like gives you some energy. Maybe it'll make you thinner. You know what I mean? It'll get you different friends. I haven't believed that when I've had jealousy. It's never served me. Mm-hmm. But what were some of the components? So like, how'd you stay away from it?
Well, I think us specifically, we had the opportunity to be friends first and kind of see who each other were without, like, without the eyes of like trying to impress each other.
Okay.
Like when you first start, because usually when you first start dating somebody, you put on these like, oh, I'm this type of person. I don't get jealous. I have all these aspirations. I'm going to do things in my life. And then you get into it and you're like, you're a freaking loser and you live in your mom's basement and you're jealous all the time. What are you talking about? Who's the person that you've had on, swipe right? We didn't have that one before we were dating, but that's what people deal with nowadays. And I think we really had the opportunity to have like a relationship outside of a romantic relationship first. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a major benefit because like I would see you. Well, how weird is it that I like literally saw you in a marriage, right? And you saw me and I had a boyfriend. So I saw what type of a husband you were and type of person you were before we were dating. And I think that was to our benefit because then, like, if somebody was jealous of you and, like, your ex-wife, we'll just say that, was super jealous of you going out and being around other women and having women clients and that kind of stuff, it was because of her own insecurity. But I would see you and how you would, how you would act away from your family and you were the same person in the light as you were the dark. So to me, I never felt like I had to worry, because I already seen it. I had seen it and I experienced it. I knew who you were, So when I started dating or when we started moving forward in our relationship, it was like, I already knew who you were, And I think even when we first started dating, it was like, we went through some rocky times. Like we went through some rock and roll before we even had things like romantic, and I think that was to our benefit because even now when things get like, tough because things, there's mountains and valleys but at the end of the day, I have so much love and respect for you because that's what our relationship was founded on. It wasn't, there was definitely attraction, but I think because of we had so much love and respect for each other as individuals first, that's what makes it so much better in the longevity. I feel the same way from you. People could say like, are you jealous, either but I think it's because we have trust for each other. Like I trust you emphatically and I know that you do too. But I mean, like I told you, I mean, that was a non-negotiable from the beginning. I was like, listen, bro, I'm going to deal with some stuff. You're going to deal with some stuff.
Yeah.
But there's one thing, like, and that's my non-negotiable is like, if there's no trust, then we can't, I don't want to be in this relationship. So
what do you think was the hardest part? Because people look at, say, marriage and things like that. And for me, again, I have people that would be like, oh, even I had a friend this morning, which Peter Anthony, he's an amazing guy. He was like, oh, you grew up in a middle-class family with just tons of love around you. And, you can succeed from that point too. And I was like, I guess I haven't told Peter the whole story. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's not that I came from, absolutely not, but there was a lot of challenges. And so what was the most challenging thing for you in our marriage? I remember being at one point where all the bank accounts were zeroed out. This was about a year into Chicago. They were all zeroed out. It was in Winter Suite. And everything was zeroed. Credit cards were maxed. Credit lines were maxed. And we had zero money in the bank. Nothing. But I was working harder than I ever had in my entire life. And I remember just losing it and just almost collapsing in the front room. And I was looking at the computer because of the bank accounts, and you came up behind me and you just kind of scratched me on my back and you said, it's going to be okay. Like, we're going to make it through this. That was a pinnacle or a pivotal time for me. Have you had those?
Have those what?
Have you had those times?
Yeah.
Because you're so strong and you're so resilient that it's generally not me scratching you on your back and telling you it's going to be okay. It's the opposite way. But have you had those? And if so, what has been the scariest thing for you?
I mean, I think I think we all go through those peaks and valleys, right, in life. And I think that's what I'm saying. We've been through.
But for us, like, what was the scariest time for you? Through our.
I mean, honestly, the financial stuff with that, like when we had bank account zero, like that wasn't scary to me. I knew it would be okay.
Yeah. I guess I'm just superficial.
No,
I'm just joking.
I mean, we were a young family. I think we had just got married. We had a baby, and I think we were it was scary. But I knew it would be okay.
Yeah.
But I think that because I could be that for you because you were that for me, and I mean, I think maybe because of your resilience, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you'd been through some crazy stuff, growing up, and you always knew that it was going to be okay. Actually, it was better than okay. Like, look how you came. I mean, what do you think it is? Do you think that was the way you were raised? Was it your foundation? I believe it's your foundation that you have a huge faith and trust in God.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that that's what it is. And sometimes I believe, and this is something that I've learned, from you, is that, and now with being out on the outside, during it sucks. But a lot of times that's how God's preparing you, right? Like, you have to go through that because you've asked for something bigger. So a lot of times he was like, hey, you want it, you asked for it, but you may not like the process of it. You said you wanted to go big, double up, like, okay, we're going there, but you're not going to maybe be so happy. And it's maybe the lessons that you needed to get to that next step. When you're in it, it doesn't feel like a good lesson. You're just kind of pissed off and mad about it. But I think that, because of you, and I don't know, I mean, how did you get that? How did you get that faith? I mean, was it your example that you had growing up, or is that just your experience?
I think it was a mix of both. I think it was, mama and pop, seeing them go through what they had and surviving,
Mm-hmm.
and pushing through. And, my mom was always just about literally the joy, just falling in love with your current circumstances. And people hear me say that and they're like, oh, did he, get with a marketing company and they created his thing? No, all these things, seriously, you knew my mom, you knew my pop, and these are all things. The things that I'll say is those things. And so I think it's a combination of that, like mom and pop. I think it's being the baby in the family, because I was protected. I was so blessed by my friends and my brother. My brother was, and to this day, he's such a crazy protector of me. And I still think that there's things that he doesn't let me know of because he's protecting me. He probably talks to you because he talks to you. He loves you. He chose you. And so that aspect, and then the part of literally getting kicked in the face, getting kicked in the teeth, getting kicked in the throat, having my head stomped on the ground when I was down. Like all of those things, I think, is the recipe inside of it. And the main thing is that faith in God. And I've been very fortunate because all of my friends and all of my family and everyone around me has always encouraged me in that place. And I was just telling Rob the other day that for me, it's been tough since Pop left, because that encouragement that I used to get every single day. It lacked a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but my brother was saying, he's like, do you think Michael Jordan, this is how he talks to me. He's like, yo, what's up? Like, why don't you stop being a little bitch? That's what he says, right? And he's like, why don't you stop being, and I'm going to keep on repeating it, but that's what he said. And he's like, you think Michael Jordan needs somebody to cheer him on when he makes a free throw in practice? He's like, no. He said, you're a lion. You're a predator. He said, do you think a lion has all his friends being like, yo, great kill every time? You don't need that. You know who you are. And if you didn't know who you are, you wouldn't be the place where you're at. And I was like, okay. And I'm trying to, sob story to him. And Rob is gangster, just like you.
Right?
I mean, you'll tell, like, I don't know if you realize this, but a lot of times I hear from you, shut up, dummy. Like,
I don't say that, but
that's what I hear.
Okay.
Like the last time I remember I came in and I was so excited. Actually, no, it wasn't I coming. We were on a drive out of Park City. We we're going back into Salt Lake. And I don't know if you remember the car ride because you didn't really care. You cared. You were listening, but you didn't care because I was like, baby, I found it. And you were like, what? And I was like, I think I got it. And you were like, what? And I said, well, and I kind of whispered, I was like, build people, develop culture, grow the business. And then I went silent because I was like, I thought you were going to be like, you found it. You're the greatest in the world. This is awesome. And you just turned and you're like, what? What?
Did I say shut up, dummy?
In my head you did, and you said, shut up, dummy. It's not going to be that complicated. And then you went back to doing something else. And I was just, I was in this place where I thought I had changed the world.
Man. No, I'm your cheerleader, baby.
I know, but that was you cheering me too at that time.
Oh, my gosh.
So when I hear shut up, dummy, what are you actually saying?
It really means like, yeah, no, duh. Like, yeah, I know. Like, it's done. We already know this.
How do you have that confidence? Because I've come to you with ideas, and I've come to you with ideas, and you're like, yeah, okay, all right, well, that's going to happen, but you don't need to stress on it. Where does that come from? Because I think that if we could bottle that, if we could put that in that cup and then sell that, it would be amazing. Mm-hmm. What's the recipe for you and to be in that place?
I already know you're good. Like, the proof is there. Like, I've already seen you do it. I've seen you do it multiple times. I've seen you build people. I've seen you build companies. I've seen you build cultures. I've seen you take an idea out of nothing and turn it into something, and then see other people be like, wow, I've seen it over and over and over and over again. So when you're like, I got this idea, I'm like, cool, do it. Like, to me, I'm like, you don't got to prove it to me. You don't got to sell me on it. I'm like, just shut up and do it. Like, I'm busy. Take out the trash.
I think you were busy on TikTok at that time. You were like, you're messing up my TikTok game right now.
Let's go back to that funny video. What was that?
But and when people think of a businesswoman, I'm a little hot in this room. Maybe it's because you're so hot. Is it? That's what it is. Yeah. When people talk business, right, they think that, like, especially as a woman, you got to, like, be here, you got to do this thing, blah, 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 and you do it so gracefully and effortlessly. It's the same way that you do hair. I watch you do hair. I've never made this comparison ever, and I'm always very conscious of it, but you, when I see you do hair, I see Jean Bra.
Ooh, that's a strong to very strong comparison, but thank you.
The reason why, and for those of you who aren't hairdressers, there's a lot of you, Jean Bra is the most iconic hairdresser in the whole entire planet. And she has this grace about her that she just moves and it just works. And I remember watching your hands, and you do, like when you're doing a wedding or you're doing a photo shoot and all those things, you do it and it's just like, it just works. And then I'm like, oh, if I twist my hand like that, it'll work. And then it's like, it don't work like that. So how are you able to be so effective in business like you are? And you're a monster, like you're an apex predator in business, but that part doesn't come off, like you do it with such ease and such grace. How is that?
Well, first of all, thank you for that comparison.
And every time you talk away from the mic, they can't hear you as well.
Thank you.
Yes. And your voice sounds super sexy.
Doesn't sound so
yes,
good.
it is.
Okay.
Okay.
That's just for you, baby.
Okay, there we go. Only for me.
I mean, that's a beautiful comparison, but I don't think I appreciate that. But honestly, I just think that I put one foot in front of the other, and I just, I have targets. I think we talked about this the other day, the difference between a
target
goal and
goal.
Target. Mm-hmm. And I just keep working towards those different targets. So maybe I don't take the time to like really appreciate like where I'm at.
Yeah.
I just keep looking at like where I want to be. So I appreciate that comment, but
where's the positive in that and where's the negative in that? Because a lot of times, if you said the goals and the targets, and I want you to explain that, but sometimes when there is a target and it continually moves, then a person is in perpetual accomplishment mode as opposed to appreciation mode. How are you able to balance those things?
Well, I mean, it was explained to me like to kind of think about like a goal. Like a goal is something that you set your mind on. And some people like that. There's some people that really need a goal and a target, like a goal to kind of work towards. Mm-hmm. Some people don't. Some people don't like that. That's super intimidating, and they don't like the pressure of that. Some people need it. Target is a different way of looking at something because it could be fluid. Like if you're going out hunting, like if you're looking at it, if you're going to hunt a deer, and I am not a hunter, my brother is, but that analogy of like if you're going to go out and look for something and hunt for something, it's like if you're trying to hit that deer, like that deer's moving, you got to anticipate that move. And it kind of feels that way sometimes too. Like I thought like, this is my goal. I think it was for us, like remember our goal of ours, or I should say yours, this is your goal.
you signed on to it.
No, this is your goal.
Hey, you signed on to
I'm
it.
be the supporting actress. But you're like, I'm going to have 100 salons. And that was like goal. And then it was like salon after salon after salon after salon. And then it was like, we got close. I think at one point we were managing 7 and in our network. And I'm like, 100? Are you sure? And I think that was like, it's okay to kind of be fluid and be like, okay, well, we're work towards it. You get to a certain point, but maybe the target started to move. And I think if you still stay stuck on that target, you're holding yourself accountable to something that maybe you've changed your mind on, because as you go through the journey, you learn some things, you get excited about other things. You kind of want to look in a different direction, maybe even hunting in the woods. And now you want to like hunt in the ocean. I mean, it just changes. And I think so allowing yourself to have a target and it be fluid. So obviously you're like working towards something, but to know that it might change. And sometimes when you're working towards a target, it allows you to be a little bit more clear on your intention too. And so for me, I don't know how to like wrap that back in. You're really good at this. This is why you're a good speaker and I'm just a yapper. But
you're not a yapper. You're a phenomenal speaker. Every person out there understands it.
Okay.
And sees it. I think everybody except Brooklyn Cardenas.
But how I think we got to give ourselves a little grace, right? Like, how do you not see it? I do need to give myself a little bit of grace. Mm-hmm. I need to continue to work on being present. And that is just something I really try and do is that, learn from the past, look to the future, but just enjoy right now. And that's something that's really, really important to me right now, especially because I understand how fast time will go. And thinking about we had the opportunity to take a huge long pause mm-hmm. and really look at like what was important. And I think about like the things that are so important to me are the ones that like aren't going to last forever. So it's just like our kids, like in 10 years, they are not going to want to be with us. So are we trying to like work our lives around and being present for them? And it's hard and it's sticky and it's messy and it's wonderful and it's amazing. But, that's worth it. So, I need to be grateful for what, for what I have, and whatever I have is enough.
How do you stay in that when some people could say, you know, yeah, I want to spend time with my kids, but you know, I've got bills, or I've got debt, or I've got, you know, I have to be doing this thing, and I have to be creating this legacy. I was that guy. And I thought that if I go, and I got to open up to me the other day, he said, you know, we spend our whole life trying to capture the wind so we can bring it home to our family, and then we could become the hero. And when we get home to deliver the wind that we captured to our children or to our family, they look at us and say, I just wanted your time.
Yeah.
But how you have this amazing way, you don't call it balance. How do you do that? Like, how can a person say, like, but you don't understand, Brooklyn, because I got to do, and I have a 13-year-old. So what am I supposed to do? What do you say to that person?
Well, I think one of the things that's really helped me is to realize that there is no such thing as balance.
Can you say that again?
That there is no such thing as balance. We can come close to it, but you'll be chasing it forever. I've learned to work towards I'm going to mess that word up.
Compartmentalization. Mentalization.
Compartmentalization.
That's okay.
I need coffee.
You're good. It is water in the cup.
Yeah,
it's water in the cup.
Or
so.
wine. I need coffee or something to make this flow. But when you compartmentalize, you can just focus on one thing at a time. So like right here, right now, I'm focused on you. My eyes are locked in you. I'm here. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm thinking about this podcast right now and spending QT time with you. Like that is what I'm focused on. I'm not thinking about picking up the kids from school and that what we have going on later tonight. I'm not thinking about the emails that I have to send out and that the couple of like the clients that I have tomorrow. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about right where I'm at. But as soon as we're done here, I'm going to be thinking about the kids. I'm going to be thinking of picking up school. We're going to think about homework. We're going to be like being 100% present with my kids because the time I get to have with them is so valuable. And then, tomorrow when I'm with my guests, for my bride, like I have 2 brides tomorrow for trials, and I'm going to be I'm in their world. I'm in with them. Like I'm going to make sure that their day is exactly how they, I'm going to spend time kind of figuring out how I can serve them. And then I'm going to come home, and then I'm going to be like, what does Brooklyn need? I'm going to go take for a walk for a beach. I'm going to go to the ocean. I'm going to do whatever I need. And so what I find is if you just give 100% to right where you're at, then you never feel like you're leaving anything behind because that's it. That's all you can do. You'll have no regrets. If I'm spending all this time now worrying about what's tomorrow, then I'm not serving you or the time that I'm in. And I'm, not serving them when I see them next. So I think it's just, as opposed to trying to do it all, figuring out what's worth it. And that's what I think the balance is like, if you feel like, oh, I have this, and this. I think it's mostly moms. We deal with mom guilt. And mom guilt's like a real thing. And as moms, we're like, but I want to do this and I want to do this, but then I feel bad about that. Like, we have to realize no matter what you do, you're going to have mom guilt. It's always going to be your fault. There's always something that you could have done more. That is just innately in your life. So you just have to realize, like, let me just do the best that I can and learn and make it better. The other thing is like having a group of people around you, like having a group of people around you to love you and support you. I mean, I think you have the same group. I mean, one of the things that I think is unique about both yourself and myself is that we have friends that we've been friends with our whole lives. And like a big group of our friends, you have that. You have your bros and I have my girls and we've been friends forever. And it's like, you go through it all, but no matter what, you have somebody in your life to like love you and support you and lift you up. And I think that's really important. And if you don't have those people in your life, you need to get some. And I told you this the other day. I was like, man, I need some support in my life. I need some ladies support in my life. And this morning I went on a walk with my friend Jessica and met with one of her friends this morning. And it was like, yes, that's exactly what I needed. It's like you need other people to kind of help pump you up, especially women. We do really well in a community in having and supporting each other. And I find that if you aren't around a bunch of girls that like pump each other up, you need to go find some. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, let's go. I want to go into a part that you spoke about tomorrow. You're going to be doing 2 weddings. To put it in perspective for the people listening, and I brag about my wife all the time, not just because she's my wife, but because she's the best at what she does. Not only the best at what she does, but I believe one of the best in the world at what she does. But here's the backing of it. We worked at the Mandalay Bay. And at the Mandalay Bay, we would have anywhere from 2 to sometimes 20 weddings come through in a Saturday. And Brooklyn would be a part of them or take care of them. So either having a touch point. So you're thinking, 20 weddings in a Saturday, and then we do a Sunday, and you would have 20 weddings in a Sunday. So if you think about that, and 40 weddings in a weekend, right? If you were a busy hairdresser, you would do 2 weddings a month. But no one in the world that I know does 2 weddings a month every month of the year. But let's just say that they did. That would mean that if you did 2 a month for a whole year, that would be 24 weddings. That would be half of what Brooklyn did in a weekend. And she did this for probably 5 years at the Mandalay Bay. So you can imagine the type of experience level that she has with brides' moms, with crazy aunts, with, the outliers, like the bridesmaids, all these things. What do brides not know when they're going in to choose their hairdresser? Because what I love about you too is I've never seen you sell anything. And I watch you on calls or whatever it is. And it's literally like, you'll tell me, this is my bride, or that's my bride, and But what do most brides out there not understand when they're going to choose a hairdresser?
Yeah, I feel there's you have weddings are awesome. They're amazing and they're wonderful and they're super special, but it brings up a lot. There's a lot of emotion, whether it be happy or nervous or excited. There's a lot of emotion, and it's all good. But I take it as a big responsibility that your glam team is who you are with before you go and get married on that day. And so even though they'll say this, the day goes by so fast, a large portion of it is you getting ready. And so that moment or that experience needs to be just as thought of as the walk down the aisle and then the party. That's how I feel about it, because I've been there, and I've been when it's great. I get when it's wonderful and special and magical, and I've seen how it can take a turn for the worse. And so I take it as a big responsibility that that goes flawlessly, amazing. I want the bride to feel incredible. And so a lot of my work that I do with a bride happens on the front end of the wedding. And so we already have connected. I anticipate any snuff. I kind of understand who she is and what she's about and what she wants her day to feel like and look like. So that morning of, I'm her protector. And that is more than just doing hair. Hair is secondary to me. And I think some people understand that. And I would say most women, especially my brides, is that they want to feel like a glammed up version of themselves. If you are a normal girl that never wears any makeup and wears her hair in a ponytail, and you bring me this, you're not you want something that's not realistic, right? And it's fun, but most of the time what happens, if you have all that hair and all that makeup, you don't necessarily feel like yourself. So then there's this extra layer of emotion going into the wedding because you don't feel like yourself.
Wow.
And so my job is to make sure you feel like yourself. So I need to know, who are you, what are you about, and how can I support you and make you not only look good, that's going to happen regardless. That's going to happen. It's about how can I make you feel great. And you'll hear people say that, but that is something that's really, really important to me. And I think I've done it so many times that it's important to me. And so I know if we're on the same page with that, let's go. Let's do this thing. Let's get married. And you know who you want to be with. I know what makeup artists I want to work with because they run on time. I know what wedding planners that I want to do because they're not bothering the bride on the day of little details.
I've watched you become a wedding planner.
Well, So it's and sometimes I have to step in, right? Sometimes you have to be that. Sometimes, what do you need me to be? I need to be that. Sometimes I'll have to pull the bride out of the room. hey, I need you to step over in front of this mirror. Because the energy's getting a little off and I can see it, and I need her to come back to center, right? And so I'll say, come on, let's go ahead. I need you to in front of the mirror. I'm going to have you step in the bathroom. Go ahead. The bathroom's not quite big enough, Mom. I'm going to have you step out, right? Hey, Mom, I need you to go run an errand. It's really important. I need this, and only you can get it. You know, somebody needs a drink. Somebody needs some water. Somebody needs a ride. I mean, there's several times when they forgot to like call, like, how am I going to get it, the extra people to the wedding? And I'm like, get in the car, let's go. Let me call the limo company. I mean, there's just like, you have to be willing and to do anything. And I think that's just because I've done it for so long and kind of learned to anticipate people's needs before they need them. And so then they feel safe, you know? And that's ultimately what I like to do.
How do you stay so true? Because I've witnessed this, and I haven't told you, but I've never seen you take money for something you didn't believe in. And the reason why I say that is because when you said, like, if you're my bride, let's go. If you're not my bride and you're willing to pay me, I won't take your money. Mm-hmm. And I've watched this over and over with you. And some people in business would be like, no, all money is green. And I watch you, and you build relationships with people because you're willing to say no. How important is that? And then how have you been has it been a conscious decision since the beginning? And I've watched this with friends. I've watched this in business deals. I've watched this with all the stuff. You're like, if it ain't real, I don't want to do it, and I won't take your money for it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me now, I know the questions to ask. Or even sometimes I get even all the way into the trial, and like it's just like we're not on the same page, and I'm like, this isn't it, you know?
But I see it not only in weddings, I see it throughout. I'm not talking about just your wedding business. Mm-hmm. I'm saying I've watched you, and it's like, if it isn't real, you don't want any part of it. Has that been a process for you, or was that born in you?
No, I think it's just a part of having integrity, you know, and knowing what you stand for. It's your name, you know, it's your name on it.
Who taught you the integrity?
I think you did. I think you've always been a really good example of that. My upbringing, my mom and my dad, you know, gave me a really great, beautiful foundation of that. But I'm really, really lucky that I have a really great example of things and to bounce off stuff, because I'll come home from something and we'll work through it, and you're like, okay, well then was it worth it? No, it wasn't. So I learned that lesson, and I will not be doing that again. You know, and like I said, I appreciate for where I'm at now. That's why I said the reason why I know who my bride is because I've been in some not so great situations when I'm like, that was not worth my Saturday away from my family. I don't feel like I executed in the way that I could have. How could I get better? I always want to get better. So if I don't feel like it aligns, then it's not really worth it. Like again, time is so valuable. I want to make sure that it's worth my time and it's worth their time. And if it's not, I mean, there's a lot of people that know how to curl and pin hair. A lot.
So with you too, as you go along and you're constantly wanting to get better, how do you manage that from not overtaking you? Because I have seen people where they won't be in the appreciation stage at all. They're just like, you know, no, it sucked. I've got to go bigger. I've got to go stronger. And you always seem to have this super graceful balance, you know, and you talked about that there's no such thing as balance. Maybe you're just compartmentalizing it. But how do you keep yourself from, you know, just beating on yourself and wanting to get better? Like how are you able to stay in that place?
How do I stay on beating myself and wanting to get better?
Without wanting to, because there's sometimes where like you'll come home and you'll say, I could have done better. I could have done this. I could have done that. But it's almost like it rolls off your back. Like you release it. Like, what is your method of releasing? Because most people hold on to stuff, mm-hmm. and then they end up carrying Tuesday during Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday. And by the time they get to Sunday, they're carrying 6 days of weight and they can't be present.
Yeah. That's a good question. I appreciate that you feel that way. I do, that I don't carry it with me. Because there is I mean, there's
sometimes when you carry it with you, when you're like hungry or, you know what I mean? Like if you're hungry or you hadn't had coffee or whatever it is, you're like, look,
like I'm mad.
I'm joking.
I mean, I think if you are passionate and you love something, you'll get better at it.
Okay.
You know, I think if you really care about something, you'll continue to figure out how to get better about it. And you'll surround yourself around people that will help you grow, and push you. How do I like leave it? Like, I don't know if I do. Thank you for saying that. But I feel like I just know that like there's going to be another opportunity for me to get better. So
what have the kids taught you?
What have the kids taught me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
What have they taught you like about yourself and just in general?
Oh, wow. This is like a whole nother podcast. That's mom podcast, right?
Maybe that's a new venture.
I know. Well, for my beautiful daughter, McKenna, she is such an amazing, sweet soul. She's the one that like when you walk into a room, she can feel where people are at, and she always wants to go and be with the person that needs it the most. Like she's a feeler like that, and she's so gifted, and she's an amazing artist, and she just connects in a whole different way, and she's always kind of been that kid, and I'm not like that. Like I'm just more of like, and so she's taught me how to be softer and kinder and more patient, because I just wanted to yell at her, just go and do it. And it's like, oh, well, she just completely shuts down. And so I've had to be more patient and more understanding and learn to just encourage her and meet her right where she's at and not fix things. That's a huge lesson for me. And she continues to teach me. As a teenager, it's been tough. And teenage girls, for those of you that have teenage girls, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They test you every single day. Every day it's a new thing. As soon as you think you have it all figured out, it changes. It's tough. I was a 13-year-old girl. I told you this right when we got together. 13-year-old girl, 12-year-old girls are tough. Because we have all these big hormones in this little tiny body, and we don't even understand it all the time, you know? I mean, I'm still learning. I'm like, oh, that's why I'm crazy, you know? So she's taught me so much, not only about myself, but just to be a kinder, more patient, loving person. Maddox is oh my gosh, he's just like full of joy, right? Like right? He's so happy about everything. Like
He was happy about Fresno.
Dude, yeah, he was like, he had to go on a work trip, and he's like, yeah, we're going on a plane, and we're going to do this. I mean, but he's just one.
He was that way when we got to security at the airport. Yeah. He was like, we get to go through security. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, girl.
Yeah. He's just like so much joy, and it's true. Like he'll look you right in your face and be like, oh, Mom, I love you, Mom. You know, and he's just that kid, and you just know he means it, and he has so much joy for life. And that it's infectious. Like I remember one time, like I'm not a golfer, I don't golf, and it was important to him that we went to the golfing, and we went golfing, and it was just like we were eating gummy candies and driving the golf cart all crazy and hitting the ball and chasing after it, and everything was fun and a game. And I was like, this is the most fun I've had without alcohol and my friends in a really long time. Like, oh my God, I'm like literally have so much joy and like just so much fun. And he's that to be around. And it's a joy to be his mom. And I think that he teaches me a lot into that, and to stay in touch with like being that kid and like finding joy in everything. And God, we're so lucky to have these little humans that like that test us and challenge us, but like are so freaking cool, dude. We did a good job. I mean, they have a good daddy too.
They got a great mama.
Yeah.
I think it's cool because, you know, for the people that are listening they can hear like when you were talking about the wedding, you were talking about the wedding, and you weren't really talking about the way that the pins went in or the hairspray went or anything like that. You were talking about all the other things that caused that one thing to work. And you were a master at that. And, you know, whether it be through your integrity in business or your, you know, working on your technique, and I see you on the weekend and you're, you know, constantly working on your craft and all these things. It's amazing, like, because when people look at you and think, oh, she's just so natural, not to say that I don't think you have natural talent, but as your husband, I get to see you work on what old people think that you have naturally. And I watch you, and you work on all these things, and then you get into the situation, and everyone's like, wow, she's so graceful. And I'm like, because she was up in the kitchen with 17 doll heads, or she was talking to this person and going through this. So it's amazing to be able to see, like, you really bring a story of, like, most people are focused on that one thing. Like the little girl who was focused on the Golden Globes. How'd you get to do the Golden Globes? I know a girl named Kalina. I met her 20 years ago. I became her friend. No. I asked you, how'd you get to the Golden Globes? I met a girl named Kalina 20 years ago. She became, no, stop. I said the Golden Globes. I don't care about Kalina. And then you walked away from the situation because the person didn't want to know about the process of it. They wanted to know about the result. Your walk today, you were on fire when you came back. Jessica, thank you. Whatever your friend's name is, what's her name?
Ava.
Ava, thank you. I'm going to have your son on the podcast and your son's friend who's the #1 quarterback for Carlsbad. What happened? Why were you so on fire when you came back?
We just prayed for each other. That's it.
What do you wish that people knew about prayer?
Oh man, it's so powerful, you know? I mean, like we sat there on that rock at the end of the jetty into the ocean, and it was super grounding, right? Like I love stomping rocks. It's like my favorite thing to do. It's so
Especially
grounding.
when you're running away from a guy who's trying to date you and you keep yelling out, I'm not having kids. I'm not getting married.
Stomping
I was like, I'm going to catch you. I'm going to catch you somehow, dude.
Yeah. I do it. I mean, you're outside, you know, you're sitting on the edge of a rock and you're looking out into the ocean, and it just kind of really grounds you. And what was interesting is that we all shared our struggles with each other. But it was like we just lifted each other up. And these two women are so strong in prayer, and they just, you know, speak life and love into each other. And a lot of times you know, it's so beautiful to have that, to be able to have that access anytime, is to, you know, you just ask for help or exactly what you need, and the patience to get it. I'm like super emotional right now. What is happening?
How does a strong woman ask for help?
I think that's what strong women do, is they ask for help. You know, I told you, I said, I need some women in my life. And God brought those two women to me today. And it wasn't even me. I didn't even tell them what's going on in my life. I just listened to them and prayed with them. And I was like, wow, you guys are strong and beautiful and powerful. And we just lifted each other up and asked for love and help and grace and patience. And it was just like, wow, you know, to have that community in people is huge. And my life's not perfect, but to have somebody to know that, like, that everything's going to be okay, and that, you know, by the grace of God, there's love, right? That's all you need. All you need is love, baby.
Define love.
That's super philosophical, but I think that's all there is. All there is love, you know. And I get, like I was saying earlier, it's like if anything in the absence of is what we're familiar with, right? So if you're feeling mad or sad, it's because you're feeling hurt or the absence of that. And the reality is that there's abundance of it, you know, and you just have to ask for it. I find a lot of it in nature and just going out and being outside and just being in the beautiful and just seeing that, like, there's joy in everything. But that's really what is the heartbeat of life, you know, is love. That's all there is. That's truly what I believe. And when you think of, like, and if you're, you know, whoever that God may be to you, it's a representation of love and pure love. And I think that's all there is.
So probably 3 years ago, I was just telling Peter Anthony about this. About 3 years ago, we had a dog walk, and that dog walk really changed our lives.
Oh, yeah.
And we were on the dog walk, and I remember you kind of asking, in not so many words, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I told you. And I was scared to tell you because, you know, it was like, it was different from what I was doing at the time. And it was different from what we were doing as you know, we got a family, we got all this stuff. And I remember you just look at me and be like, how much money we got in the bank? how much we spend a month?
Yeah.
Let's go. When I tell people that story, they're like, and I leave it at that. Then they're freak out, like, whoa, what do you mean? What was the rest of it? And it was like, there was not really a discussion. It was just that type of support. And it was like, let's go. And to give it context, our business was at a place where, I mean, it was flourishing at a place. It wasn't like it wasn't doing well. This was a Seinfeld moment. This was we're going to end this thing on a really high note. And literally walk away, like, you know, and walk away from it. What was going through your head at the time? And how were you able to stay so calm to move into something and move forward into something that you had never, you know, it was unknown? Because there's a lot of people out there that are dealing with fear, stress, anxiety, depression, you know, because of the unknown. And you seem to forge into the unknown and be like, yeah, I'm here. Like, give me some Tupac, some lip gloss, and some hairspray. I'm in. Coffee, too. Got to have some coffee. Sometimes some wine. Mm-hmm. Only in the morning. I'm just joking. Not in the morning. How are you able to stay so calm during, like, going into those kind of things? I mean, because that was massive.
Sure. I think we asked for it. You know, we asked for it. I was like, you dream big. And we were like, what do you want? I think the question was not what you want to be when you grow up. It was like, what do you want? Like, and it's so grateful for the opportunity to pause. Thank you, COVID.
Yeah.
Because when you get there, I feel like we're doing so many things that we felt like we had to do, and not as many things as that what we wanted to do. And when I think we took that minute to pause, we thought, like, what's important to us? And I think we put our family first. Our family was number one. And then it was like, what do we want to do? What does the next 10 years look like? And that feels good, like, to be able to kind of, like, decide. And what I'm grateful for is the foundation that you laid. Because within our company, we were never just a company of people. We grew people, and we were a growth company. We grew people. We never hired outside people. We hired from within, and we grew from within. You went from assistant to stylist to director to leadership to, you know, and those people that were in those leadership positions, and that's what you've done forever, was like grow leaders. Like, it came to the point where for us to allow those people to step into that next role, we had to step off and do something else. We had to show them that it wasn't just the end. There's more. And then there's more. And then there's more. And then more and more. And I think that it just seemed like the natural progression. And it felt good because it was a choice. It's something that we wanted to do and not had to do. And so I wasn't scared at all. It was like, let's go, you know? And it doesn't mean to make it easy. It was just felt right. And so, and everything that you've ever said, that you've ever wanted, has always come true, because I believe in you. And, you know, everything that you said, well, I want to do this. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then you go and do it. And then I want to do this. Well, okay, let's go do it. And so I was never scared. I don't need to be upset or nervous or scared or anything like that. I'm calm because it's like, it's not my first time, you know? It's like, I've seen this before. Like, some people are like, I think other people were freaked out, which I think made us kind of be like, wait, what? Like, yeah, we're just doing this. And I think it freaked other people out. Like, what?
Did you got those questions too?
Oh yeah. Like, people were like, what do you mean? But then you know what it taught me is that, you know, you can be like, well, I don't even know quite how to say this, but like, other people kind of put you in a box and be like, well, this is what success looks like. And I'm thinking, like, what? Like, I'm going to go to all these, like, I'm going to be spend time with my family. I'm like going to do these things. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to like totally like put myself in a room where I like have so much to learn. And it's going to be like like, I'm so excited to grow. And people are like, but, and I think that was like people's reaction that made me almost kind of like, wait, what? I don't know. Did you feel like that?
Well, it's funny because, I had people close to us, and especially, I think they're more protective, really protective of you. And they came to me and they were like, okay, so how are you going to make money? That was it was everything. They were excited. And when I told you, I said, I want to do the podcast and I want to speak and I've been speaking for 30 years. And I remember my dad, I was like, Pop, like, I'm giving myself some time, man. I'm new at this. And he was like, stop, boy. And I was like, what? And he's like, you ain't new at this. And I said, no, I'm new to the game of podcasting and stuff like that. He's like, no, boy, for 30 years, you've been podcasting with people that were sitting in your chair and you were talking with them and you were learning all these things. So you aren't new to this. You aren't new to the game. And that was a different thing. And he believed in that part. But honestly, I always would get, I don't know if you get this, but as a man, I always get, okay. Oh, that sounds so cool. Oh, that's good. How you going to make money? Mm-hmm. How you going to make money?
Yeah.
And I could tell you this, like, I have never, ever, 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 and this may sound crazy. I've really never written down a goal, ever. I've never set a goal like I've got to do. I've told you, hey, I want to go do this thing, but it wasn't a goal. It was just like, hey, I want to do this thing. Mm-hmm. And I also never knew how I was going to make money.
Well, don't you feel like if you do what you love, then like the money comes?
It does.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it just seemed to flow. Like it was like, I remember telling you the concept of the hideout. And I said, hey, I wanted to do this thing. And I think that you were like, okay, shut up, dummy, go do it or whatever. Yeah. Let me get back to my TikTok real quick. But at first though, it was tough for me because you believed in me in that realm. And it helps me when you say it, like, you're not shocked, that you just believe in it, because for a while there, I was like, wow, she just isn't paying attention to it. Like, I'm saying this stuff and it's not really impacting her. I thought I was going to shock you. I thought I was going to be like, wow, she's going to love me more because I showed her that, like, I did this thing. She loved me more. And you just keep showing me all the time. You're like, I love you anyway.
I love you, dummy.
But it was tough, like, people asking about it, and and for me, I've just known, like, I've known, and we're, it's the process isn't done. But was that as a woman though? I mean, did that?
No. I mean, I always, like I said, like, we've been through the highs and the lows, and I know that we're going to take care of our family. And it just, I think it gets to change. I think like there's that part of your life where you like grind and work hard and build. And then you get to a certain level when you're like, I made some smart decisions. I built and made some good decisions and like invested and like figured out, like, it doesn't have to be. And I think you always say this, I don't want to. What do you say about the time in exchange for money?
Exchange money for time.
Yeah. And so I think that you just get to a place where you can work smarter. How
did Park City change your life? And the reason why I say it is because I've seen a shift in you. Mm-hmm. I've seen a shift. Talk about it.
Well, I truly believe that all the things that we ask for, like, how many times I ask big things. I ask for big things. And
what big things you ask for?
I wanted that big house in Lacadia. Do you remember that?
I got it on my prayer list. I've got it in my Bible the whole way.
I wanted that house in Lacadia, and
757 Blossom.
Yeah, and I wanted 757 Blossom, but we didn't get it.
757.
Okay.
We just haven't got it yet.
Well, my target might change, but I wanted it,
mm-hmm.
and we didn't get it, and I cried myself to sleep in the closet. That's my crying spot. Like when things don't go your way, like, you just kind of break down, right? Why me, right? Ah! Mine's the closet. Everybody has like their spot. Mine's in the closet. Uh-huh. I think we wanted to buy that building in Chicago, and
I remember that day.
Yeah.
You were mad at me.
Yeah, I was mad. I wanted it. I thought and I was like, wait, why? And I couldn't understand why.
I remember that was a challenging, not a challenging, like, but it was challenging for us in our relationship, because I learned that I needed to communicate more than, no, it's just done. Like, it's done. Because that's what I said to you. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of my pops right now. You know what I mean? And I remember coming home, and I had prayed about it, and I was on the way, and I was going to put $20,000 to the earnest money think it was $20,000 or $30,000 on the way to the bank. Like I had this, I had the cashier check. I'm going to the bank to deposit the money. And I remember praying and asking, God, is this what you want me to do? And then God was like, call the dude right now. Call the real estate agent right now. And I was like, or call the loan officer right now. And I was like, and I'm like a block away from to U.S. Bank in Carlsbad. Yeah. A block away. He says, call. I'm like, why? I'm just got to put down the earnest money. So I call, and he's like, I just wanted to let you know we had to change up in, something, and you're not going to be approved. And I was like, what? Like, we had just got approved for, 50 or 75% more for a home, and this building was less. Like, why? And I remember just a peace, and God just telling me, do not go put that money down, because if you do, you'll lose it. And I came home and I was peaceful. I was just in this, I was in this God spot. Like God had just spoken to me. I made the call and then he spoke to me. I was like peaceful. I was in. And then I got home and I was like, hey, baby. And I was so kind of excited, peaceful. I was like, hey, baby, I just want to let you know the building isn't for us. And you were like, whoa, wait a sec. Why? And I was like,
mad.
God did not want us to have that
God
building.
Did not want us to have
and you
that
were
building.
sitting on the floor in our room and you were looking at me like, well, you need to call God.
Yeah, I know. But it's how it always has worked. That's how we got Carlsbad. That's how we got Park City. Like, I will say no if it's not for me. Like, sometimes I have these big ideas and he's like, no. And he means no. Like, I mean, we try.
We tried.
And
I'm so glad we didn't get that building.
I know, right?
Can you imagine?
Oh, my God, right? And then, but Park City wasn't like that. It was like, yeah, I think this would be cool. It's like, that's just how things work. When they're meant for you, it's like the seas will part and you just step right forward into it. And it's kind of scary, but it's like, it was so
How did the
us.
sea part for that in Park City?
Well, I mean, it was freaking COVID. Like, we didn't even have a job. Our salons were shut down. I mean, I don't even know what we were thinking. And we were like, it would be cool. Let's get this place. And I was like set on this one area. And then I remember like our real estate agent was like, let's go look at this place. And it was like, oh my God, this is the place that we saw on the boat. And it was an area that it was just like, and we walked in and had the lavender soap, right? And Kelly's
That was it. That was it.
Kelly's like, the soap.
I was raised on gangster rap, and I remember, not raised, my parents didn't raise me on gangster rap, but as kids. Yeah. And I remember when we walked in, I pumped the soap, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said it audibly, out loud, I'm going to buy this bleep bleep house.
Okay.
I said that audibly to myself, and I said, because they got lavender soap. And I looked at myself, and in my head, I was thinking, when my friends ask me, oh, did you pick it because of you? No, because of lavender soap. That's how I do it. Yeah. Boom, boom. Like,
so gangster, baby.
That's the way I did it, like in my head, and I said it. Yeah. And then I saw the view.
Yeah, I know. That's you saw the view. You know how you always tell me that cool? You're like, be cool. Like, we walked into this one. I was like,
you weren't cool here.
I was like, no, how much? This is let's go.
I got to have this one.
Yep. Like, and you're like, no, be cool. Like, don't be
I wasn't
like,
cool in
you
Park
were
City.
not cool. You were like, let's go. I'm like, okay. So it just seemed, it was funny. Like it was just everything, every door, every nick and cranny, it was ours. Like we knew it. And it was just like, and then we like shook hands on a deal and was like, let's do this. And then we walk away and it was like, did we just do that? Did we just shake hands on a deal? And then, we leave and we go get massages and I'm like meditating and praying. I'm like, is this? And God kept telling me I'm like, how am I going to do this? I can't do this. And he's saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I'm like, okay. And then we get out and we find out like somebody tried to like undercut us and our real estate agent and like
our real estate agent put his own money down.
Yeah. That was one. I mean, it's just like everything. And then it was like, because of all these other roadblocks, right? So God delivered, right? It was like, yes, you can. And then there was this waiting period. Like we said, yes, we're like ready to go. But the house was in a new development. It was COVID. They were like waiting on some random signature from like the state so they could build like a road. And we just sat and waited for like a year. And it was just like every week we were like, nope. And we tried to rush it. And it was like, there was such a lesson in like, yes, but be patient. And that was really hard for me to be patient, but there was a lesson in it. And then it was just like the same thing. It delivered. It was like, it closed at the most perfect time. We took a month off to decorate this thing. And when there was like no furniture ever, there was like, there is no supplies anywhere in the world. And I'm like, I need to furnish a whole house. And there's like, you have nothing. So it was like, everything just kind of happened the way it needed to be. And so that was so it was such a blessing. And it's like, my brother passed away that year. Your dad passed away that year. And family became so important to us. And so just getting back to a place where family is really important. And our family, it meant a lot to us. Like, our family had a really tough time with COVID. And McKenna and I mean, it changed her. Do you remember? McKenna's room has this crazy view of the mountains and lake. Jordan. And we didn't have blinds at the time. So she was in this room of light and nature. And we spent a whole month there, and she, all of a sudden, this light came back up in her, and she smiled. And I was like, yes, that's what we needed. And so that was huge. Just getting back, like you said, stomping rocks. When I'm there, I just see the mountains and I want to stomp rocks. And I know you don't like hiking, but when you're there,
I do
you
now.
like it now, right?
Yeah.
And so we learned how to mountain bike together, and you love being on the lake, and it's just so good. And it's just what we needed. I mean, not the place we live sucks. This place is absolutely amazing, but we're so blessed. We have both, And so, when you go through something hard, it's like, there's just, it's just that another peak of the mountain top. And we're so blessed. We have exactly what we need. And I have wonderful kids. I have a wonderful husband. And I'm grateful because everything I have is enough, And it's nice to have more and want and desire and grow. But I think that's truly what being grateful is knowing whatever you have is enough. And I am more than blessed.
So the whole reason why I started the podcast is because of two special people, Maddox and McKenna. Who both of them are. I don't even have to tell you. But I started because I wanted to take iconic people, and I think the most iconic person in all of our lives and in our home, whether it be here on Seaward or there on Claim Drive, the most iconic person in our household, in our home is you. And you are truly the foundation of who we are as a family and as a unit and as a legacy. And I wanted to take McKenna and Maddox, and I wanted to show them that Mama, although you are a superhero to us, you're a human being. You're a little girl first. You're a little girl who dealt with divorce early. You're a little girl who loves her pop and has a great relationship with him, but it wasn't perfect. And a relationship with your mom, but it wasn't perfect. And because of all those things, you now are a superhero to us. And that you're an icon because you're a human and you've gone through things. And the fact that we're going to have to change the name of the whole episode because whatever you have is enough. That's massive. What advice do you have for Maddox and McKenna? And if you could use both of their names, that would be awesome.
McKenna, you'll like to know that I made you a mom. Yes, you did, my little princess. You made me a mom, and you changed me completely. And you'll know one day when you experience that. And just right now, when you said, I'm not having kids, just know when I was 13, there's proof I said the same thing. But you changed me. You taught me how to love deeper and more unconditional than I could ever imagine. And you will continue to do the same. You continue to teach me that. You love people, and I'm in awe of you. And you're beautiful, and you're smart, and you're kind. And you will have everything in life that you ever dream of because of who you are. And you are an inspiration to your dad, and you're an inspiration to your brother, and you're an inspiration to me. And thank you for leading our family in love. Maddox. I freaking love you. You are amazing. You're naturally gifted at a lot of things. Anything you do, you're great at. And whether it's football, basketball, golf, skating, you just have this natural gift. And you're going to take that far in life. But what really, 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 really matters is who you are. And the fact that you are so kind and so smart and you're so wonderful. You are going to have anything you want out of life. And your mom loves you, and your dad loves you, and your sister loves you. And I can't wait to see what you become. And to my husband, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Do me a favor. I haven't done this before, but I want you to look into the camera. So look over here so they can see your eyes, and those will be the eyes of the person. And maybe a couple thoughts and speak life to your sister Jamie, who's just about to go into being married, and she's going through all these things and planning and stuff like that. But speak some life to your sister Jamie, because I know that you feel and like she means the world to you.
Yes, Jamie, I love you so much. Sorry, I got to talk. Can I get
there? We go. Yeah, you can move it that way. Yeah, it's okay. You could hear a difference, right?
Yeah. So, Jamie, my little sissy, I love you so much, and you're gonna get married, and this is gonna be everything that you ever dreamed of. We love you and we support you. You deserve everything that you want out of life, and I'm so excited for you. You're an incredible mama, and it's so fun to see you lean into what you're incredibly good at, which is just being an incredible role and support to all of us. And I don't know what we would do without you. You're going to have the best wedding, and I can't wait to celebrate you.
Well, I want to speak some life to Nanny and Grandpa, because you did a phenomenal job with such an incredible woman. And you guys, I thank you so much for being my family and inviting me in and helping me to feel like a son. Not to feel like a son-in-law, but just like a son. And I think it's amazing, and I love you both with all my heart. So I want to thank you for being on the podcast. Will you be on again?
Sure.
Will you come on again?
If you want me to.
Of course. Everyone wants you to.
Okay.
I believe that we could get to 100,000 downloads just because you're on.
Cool.
Do you believe?
Yeah, let's go.
Yes, let's do that.
Let's go.
Right now, we want to thank all our sponsors, everyone who's rolled with us from the beginning, every single person out there, too, that has been listening or watching. You have made us, you have got us into the top 1% of all podcasts, and I want to thank you all for that. All the sponsors that have been riding with us. And here we go. McKenna's Musical. I have in the whole, all the seasons of the podcast, this is the start of season 18. I don't ask for stuff. I ask for maybe a share it with your friend. But I am going to ask that all of you go to the link, that there's going to be a link in the bio, and it is the AOMS, which is Aviara Oaks Middle School. There is a musical that my daughter wants to do, but the public school needs funding. And so we have to fund this thing. And I said, I have a lot of cool friends and they could donate whatever it is that you can. But we have a goal, and that goal is pretty large, but based off a bunch of people, it's not that large. And the drama teacher, Mrs. Anderson, I want to give a shout out to you. Mrs. Anderson was kind of almost skittish a little bit about asking for the amount that she wanted. And what I want to say to her is, ask for what you want, and it will come. Don't ask for what you think is okay. Ask for what you ultimately want. And we asked for that the other night, and she told us a number, and we want to hit that number. So there's going to be a link. It'll say donations for McKenna's school musical. Anything, $1, $2, if you have a couple thousand, whatever it is. But that's what I would ask for you to do. I want to thank you for being on the podcast. You have been phenomenal. I love you. Getting to spend this time with you is it means so much to me to share this with you. And you have been incredible. Check out brooklyncardenas.com. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, baby.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. You're officially off the hot seat.